Democrats have transformed into the Communist Party USA, and a huge part of that transformation is rejection of God, manifested in a hatred of Christianity in general, but a specific enmity, a loathing of Catholicism. Every time communists show up, the church is persecuted, meaning the Catholic Church. When Antonio Gramsci founded the Italian Communist Party a century ago, he specifically named and identified that the Catholic Church's influence on the culture would have to be broken before communism could be globally dominant. He wasn't talking about just Italy. It didn't take very long, in fact, for shots to be fired by the popes once socialism, which again is really communism, showed up on the scene in the mid to late 19th century. Gramsci warned Stalin, went to Moscow and warned Stalin that overthrowing a culture or a nation by violence might work for a bit, but would not last. Turns out Gramsci was right. The Soviet Union was gone after about 70 years. But Gramsci's method of a slow, methodical undoing of Catholic mores and social teaching about the family and sex has devastated the West, truly unmooring the culture from morality. Even though it wasn't Gramsci who coined the term, it still applies. It's been a long march through the institutions, more than 100 years. Protestants in America today simply do not realize that even though they had doctrinal differences with Catholicism back in the day, they, Protestants, still lived their day-to-day lives in accordance with Catholic teachings in the area of morality. Abortion, divorce and remarriage, unheard of practically. Contraception was actually against the law. Promiscuity, unwed mothers, cohabitation, and on and on and on. None of this was really a thing, certainly nothing like today. Catholics and Protestants alike understood, at least fundamentally, the natural law. They understood the natural law and they lived accordingly. And it was the Catholic Church that fashioned Western civilization around that same natural law. Unlike Stalin, Gramsci understood this and also understood it would take a very long time to undo what the Catholic Church had constructed over 1,500 years. Here we are now, today, in the midst of the collapse of all of that, and it's coming down to one single election with the communists very, very close to seizing that brass ring they have been reaching for a century. They've spent decades producing an emotionally unstable society and turning them into voters so that the ballot box will be their weapon. If they are successful, that depends on you. Be sure and vote and get others to vote, because if they win, you won't ever get to vote again. As the saying goes, once you vote communists in, the only alternative is to shoot your way out. God love you. I'm Gary Michael Voris.